Hello again, this is Joanna from Joanna the Medium, and these are going to be messages for May 2016. First and foremost, I wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in and for watching, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you so much for your comments. I really appreciate them, and I want to make sure that every month I say how appreciative I am of you watching these, because without you, at the end of the day, there's no point for me doing this. My May readings are a little bit late. My apologies. I have been trying to find the time to make them happen and to produce them, and it's just been a crazy April. And speaking of April has been a very transformative month. I do believe I mentioned this in April readings, but my understanding is that May is supposed to be a lot more peaceful, with a lot more pieces of the puzzle coming together, allowing you to feel much more at peace than you have been in the last 3 or 4 months. So I guess since the beginning of the new year. Please keep in mind, these are general readings. If you would like a private reading pertaining especially to you, or if you want to connect with a loved one, you can reach me at info@joannathemedium.com, and we can schedule an appointment via Skype, phone, or FaceTime, or if you're in town, in person. If these don't make sense to you, if your sun sign doesn't make sense to you, please look at your other signs, your rising sun and your moon sign, as I'm finding through your comments that some months, some of these make more sense to you than other times. So it'll help to create a much clearer picture of what's happening with you. Without further ado, let's proceed with May 2016, and I will see you shortly. And again, thank you so much for tuning in again. See you in a moment. Hello and welcome back again. This is going to be a reading for the sign of Virgo for May 2016. I have the cards laid out. They are face down, so I don't know what they are. And like before, I'm going to ask Spirit for any initial messages or message before we look at the cards. Hard work is in front of you. Not because you haven't worked hard enough already, but because hard work never ends. It is not to suggest that a torture awaits you, or that the work is always going to be unsurmountable. But hard work is still ahead of you nonetheless, so be prepared. Wow. I hope the cards say something better. And as I said this, he says to me, it wasn't implied that it is going to be an arduous time, or the work is going to be arduous. He says hard work can also be and feel very enjoyable, but it is hard work nonetheless. So I am not to assume that what he meant was going to be something that would bring you negativity or something unexpected or heavy, because it may actually be quite the opposite. However, it does require hard work. Okay, so I think I just got corrected from a spirit. So, okay, let's get started. The card that represents your current situation is the card that's called Discontent and Boredom. So, right off the bat, it is a card pertaining to your emotions. I'm just going to hold this, see if I don't get a glare here, a little bit closer maybe. Okay, that's a little bit better right there. And this is a number 4. 4 to me signifies stability, but it's at the very beginning of its stage. So there's still hard work to be done. But this card was shown to me in reverse. And what this says to me is that you might have been bored and you might have been unhappy before, but that's no longer where you are. And as a matter of fact, I see swift movement, and I see and feel you being very busy. And hasty with maybe decision making, but this is predominantly connecting to your emotions. There is a lot of anticipation. This anticipation is about something that is in front of you. And he says the word good. This is not something that you're anticipating that is bad. It is good, but it's being shown to me as a mountain. He says, give an example of Mount Everest. It is difficult to climb, but when one gets to the top, one feels elated and literally at the top of the world. So, but the road to get there is not a simple road. It is a road that requires a lot of agility, a lot of stamina, and a lot of effort, mental, physical, and emotional to get through. So whatever it is that you're working towards, it is something grand. Okay. Now, this predominantly, I feel, I'm just going to close this. Predominantly, I feel this is to do with work. It could signify relationships. It could signify something to do with your health, or if you've been struggling with some health issues, it can pertain to that. I also hear the word family. So this could be any situation that you are working towards that represents something significant to you. Interestingly enough, he just showed me wedding rings. So perhaps for some of you, you are working towards a relationship that you hope is going to turn into something much more permanent and much more grounded and committed. And committed is the word he's asking me to underline. Okay. Also, I am being shown pregnancy. Okay, and this is very interesting because I would never associate this card with pregnancy. But for those of you who know me somewhat, I don't read cards, and I just literally listen to what's being said and I see what's being shown to me. So for some of you, this is pregnancy, and I hear the word long awaited. And perhaps there were some concerns with pregnancies in the past. So there is some work ahead of you, but it's going to happen. This time it's going to happen. Okay. And I also heard the word, it's a girl. So that's very specific. And I hope you let me know who you are. Okay. And I hear the word long awaited. Now, let's move on to the card of past influences. So in other words, what is influencing you from your past to this situation? And we have the card called spiritual strength. Notice there's a green and green. Okay. When this happens, he asks me always to take a look because it is very congruent. When there's a congruency, is that the right word? Or similarity in colors, it is signifying, it's like the pieces of the puzzle come together much closer. Now, this is a card number 9, or card pertaining to spiritual self. It is also a card pertaining to your passions, your desires. It's what drives you to be who you are and to be who you want to be. And what this is saying to me is that you had to endure a lot in the past. And you were tested on many levels, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. And you have gone through it. It's taken a long time for you to go through it. And I hear the word health. So for some of you, this is health related. You have gone through it for the most part, I want to say alone. And I do see people around you, but maybe because of the nature of the situation, you had to deal with it within you predominantly. Bottom line is you have endured a lot, but it's about to pay off. Or the strength you have gained through this journey of whatever was is about to become visible to you. And he says to me, fruit of your labor. And when I hear the word labor, he's also underlying it. And again, he's pointing me to a pregnancy. So for some of you, this is going to be about a pregnancy and a long awaited one. Okay. Now, the card that represents your future is the card called New Beginnings. In traditional tarot deck, I believe this card is represented by the Fool, or it is the Fool card, and it indicates new beginnings, which means things haven't taken things haven't taken, what's the word I'm trying to say? Things haven't started yet. You're just at the beginning of your road. Nothing has manifested yet. But this card was shown to be in reverse. So I'm going to ask him what this means. That's interesting because he says to me, and this is a card that represents the inner you. It's a card that is, it's a major arcana, so it does represent what is going on within you. And when I asked him, what does this mean? Because that makes no sense to me. He's saying to me, you're beyond the point of, say it again. You're beyond the point of integration, okay? And when he says integration, it is integration within your being. And he's saying to me that significant amount of work was done on your part in order for you to be where you are. And though this is shown to me in reverse, it is by no means signifying that new beginning cannot happen, but rather that you are beyond that point already. And that is, he's saying to me, that will surprise you, but it should please you. Okay? So this is a bit of a convoluted message, and I hope this makes sense to you. And I'm just listening. He's also saying to me, it does not mean good things are not going to happen to you. Quite the opposite is true. But you have to get beyond that point of what's next. So maybe there's going to be a little bit of struggles before you, which he's reminding me what he said at the very beginning before we flip the cards over, that there is still some hard work for you to do. Maybe there's going to be a little bit of struggling within, or inner struggles within, but you will get past it and you will surpass it. Surpass it? Yeah. So you will get to where you need to go, but it feels like there is a bit of not stagnation. It's not stagnation. It's almost like there are some things that are out of your control that are going to make you feel like, oh, things I can't start. And he's saying, do not pay attention to that. Pay attention to your inner self and your inner drive. Keep remembering this. This is your inner strength. Keep remembering how strong you are. Okay, thank you. Now it's making sense. Remember when I said that the strength that you have gained will become apparent to you in a very near future? That's what he wants me to say. Please remember the strength with what's upcoming. So I sense there's going to be a little bit of, not necessarily upheaval, but some kind of a turbulence there. However, he says it is going to be short-lived, and it is not going to be determining. In other words, you are not to look at what is coming as far as the turbulence as a determining factor of the outcome. It is only a temporary setback, if setback at all. Okay, so don't get scared. This isn't anything negative. You're going to have to summon your strength. Okay, and maybe again you have to summon your strength again. But he keeps saying, keep pushing forward, keep looking at that mountain, whatever the mountain represents to you, because that is where you're going, despite of what you may temporarily experience. And don't let this get in your way. And when I say that, when I point at this, he says fears. Don't let your fears get in the way. Remember who you are. You are this. This is who you are. You're the strength. You're the strength. Now, let's move on to the next card. And this is the reasons, or the reason behind all of this. Sometimes it can be subconscious blockages as well. We have the card called Material and Financial Changes. This is card representing the earth energies. It is things we own, things we possess, money, finances, sometimes health, sometimes relationships, anything that we own, This is card number 5, and for me, 5s represent changes. And he says to tell you significant changes in this case. So, and I hear the word health related. So the reason why you had to have strength and the reason why you might be feeling a little bit at odds temporarily is because you've had to endure some changes in the past. Perhaps these changes were to do with your health. Perhaps you were ill. Perhaps you lost a job. Your finances went sideways. Perhaps you lost money. Something that you are working towards is influenced by what happened. He's saying to me, you are not to fear the outcome of what's in front of you. You are not to look at this, your past, as the determining factor of what will come. This is something that once was. It is something that has influenced you, but it is not something that should or will define you unless you let it. So I gotta be honest with you, it feels like there is some fears going on here. And whatever happened to make you feel these fears has really tested your strength. And that makes sense to me. That makes absolute sense. And he said again, remember who you are. You are an embodiment of spirit. And as a spiritual being, you are capable of anything, including overcoming your obstacles. And he's talking about this as being the obstacle. Whatever the changes were on a physical level, perhaps you lost a relationship. Perhaps you lost someone, though I don't feel that. If I do, it's for literally 1% of you. Perhaps you lost a job. Perhaps you lost something that jarred you and tested your strength. But that's in the past. Don't let that influence you for the rest of your life, okay? And even though there will be something in front of you that's going to make you feel like, oh God, here we go again, it's temporary. It is only temporary. Pull up the bootstraps, as he's saying to me, and pull up the strength that you've gained, and just keep going. Keep going with your determination. Just be determined and look at that mountain. Now, the card that represents the potential of all of this, which means if you do all of that, what he's asking you to do, the potential is perfect. Yes. Material harvest. There you go. So the end of the road is sunny after all. And all the hard work that you have worked so hard for is going to pay off for you. Providing you don't let your fears get the best of you. And providing you don't keep going to this place that something happened to you in the past and therefore it's going to happen again. Remember who you are. And even with these setbacks, whatever the setback or setbacks are going to become apparent to you, they're minor in comparison, he's saying to me. So just, it's almost like that something is in front of you. Think of it as a challenge and then you move past it. Walk through it and move past it. It's the word, I'm looking for a word here. Use it as a way to challenge yourself, knowing you can overcome anything, including what's in front of you, which again, I feel is fairly minor in comparison to what once was. But this is the potential. That's the most important card. 9 also represents, he said September. Okay, so maybe by September, you will finally see the light of day. Maybe in September, you're going to finally see your prosperity, or you're going to see the beginnings of your prosperity coming to fruition. 9 also to me represents end of cycles, and he's saying to me end of struggle. So here's 1 9, and here's another. This is good. Whatever has happened. It has allowed you to learn about yourself, hopefully, and become stronger. But whatever has happened does not mean it's going to be a determining factor of what happens in the future. He says quite the opposite. And if you only remember that and not fall back to your old ways of thinking, you will come out on top of any mountain that you are climbing. And I feel that's where I want to leave this. I hope this was helpful. Again, this makes no sense to me, but it's not supposed to. Well, kind of makes sense, but I have no context. Please do let me know if you like this reading and if it did make sense to you. And of course, if you want to know what this is about specifically, you can just email me and we'll book a reading, of course. If this doesn't make sense to you right now, that's perfectly fine. Look at your other signs or other readers. There's lots of wonderful readers out there. Until June, I wish you best of luck. Keep on going, keep on moving forward, be the determined person that you are, and things will work out just fine. Until June, thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.